Bigger Than Small Talk. That's the name of this documentary. I hope this documentary is big enough, bold enough for you. I don't feel very bold right now, to be honest. I'm terrified. Yeah, I'm stepping miles from my comfort zone to make this a reality. Yes, I made a video about a year ago by the same name. I mean, much smaller project, smaller scale. Even then, my heart was beating out of my chest. I'd never even seen these people in my entire life. They were avid, vocal, politics-oriented people, and I try hard to stay out of politics as a whole, because it can get kind of crazy at times. So this was nerve-wracking. I was awkward, as always, but made it through the video, made it through the project. I am on the autism spectrum, so it's been a lifelong struggle. I was a strange and unique kid, to say the least. Always feeling left out despite being a social butterfly. People would straight up roll their eyes and walk away before I even got 2 sentences out. For context, I was a bad stutterer at times. I mean, especially when I was nervous, but just in general, it was rough. It was difficult. I mean, I just wanted to know their favorite movie, what they were doing that summer, etc. At times, though, I get to the juicier topics, actually. Are you a Christian like me? If not, what religion are you following? And I'm curious to know more about what you believe. What is one thing about the world you'd like to change? And yeah, people started passionately opening up about their life, and we'd have really great conversations. Soon I started opening with the intriguing topics, and actually made friends quickly. I truly feel like these deeper questions are important for society and to society, and can not only spark great friendships, but actually create change. Tonight I'm starting bigger than just, like nice weather today. I'm digging deeper, then moving on to the nitty-gritty details from there. I am gonna start with contacting a type of place that you may or may not have heard of, but it's a really great, tight-knit community, and they have a sense of family. You got this.
How can I help you?
Hey, so I actually had an interesting request. If not, I totally get it, but there's a project that I'm hoping to do, which is this little documentary type thing, just about people asking the deeper questions in life, and it's for basically I'm making a project for a competition, and I'm curious if you guys would allow me to come in with my camera and maybe in the back room or something like that, and film people who are willing to have conversations, and also you guys would get some recognition.
Do you have a pen and paper?
A pen and paper? What?
I'm gonna give you my email.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a pen and paper, but I have my notes app.
It's fine. It's not my call, but
okay,
if you email this person,
that's
they
valid.
can tell you.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I'm basically ready.
Okay, D-E-O-N-N-A.
D-E-O-N-N-A? Okay.
D-E-O-N-N-A, yep.
Okay.
At Karma House.
At the Karma House, right?
Yes.
Okay.
.org.
Okay. Alright, thank you.
She's in charge of our events and stuff.
Okay.
And she'll reach out to you pretty quick.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Of course.
Alright, have a good day.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. I hope she responds. Alright, let's see. So yeah. Yeah. First of all, what's your name?
My name is Tuna,
Tuna.
like the fish.
Okay, that's a cool name. Is it like a chosen name or a birth name?
Neither. It was bestowed upon me.
Okay. Oh yeah. Just like someone like, what's your new nickname? And that's what you're called.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Is there a movie that's been powerful to you? Kind of like positively impacted your life?
It's not really a movie as much as it is. It's
Worst case, a show. Just
it's a
in
concert.
general.
It's a concert movie.
Okay.
It's called 1991 Punk Rock.
Okay. I've heard of that.
It follows around Sonic Youth, Dinosaur Jr., Nirvana, touring in Europe in 1991. It was right before Nirvana got big, so you still get to see Kurt Cobain be happy and like he's having a good time. They're all friends. And, that's my depression movie. That's what I watch when I'm in a bad or when I'm sick. And there's something about that music, about that camaraderie, about that youth, that vigor of creatives that really impacts me greatly. The music is top notch. It's in a lot of ways it's somehow a home for me.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like it's it's powerful to you because it's kind of keeping that youth and creativity. Is that kind of what you were saying, or what like?
And the other thing too is that
Okay.
they're all outliers. You know, these are not. I mean, Sonic Youth was pretty big at the time, but like these weren't bands that had found commercial success yet, and just to see that level of authenticity in the creative process.
Okay. Yeah, just being authentic and stuff. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I feel like like I've told you, Good Dinosaur. That's something that's been really powerful for me. The other powerful thing, I'm trying to remember which one it was that I had selected. That was really powerful for me. Was have you heard of the movie Crypt Camp or documentary Crypt Camp?
No.
It's really good. So it's basically about there's a story that hasn't been told a lot in history classes, but it's important too because there's sort of like the civil rights, but there's actually another one. Rather than it being about race, it's about disability. It's the disability revolution. It's talking about that and whether it be wheelchair access, a whole bunch of different things. And it was interesting.
Equality.
Yeah, equality. Yeah,
Equity.
but just the kind of thing where people. Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, people don't really talk about that in schools, but it's a story. Like for the first half of the
You're talking about like the ADA and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like the first half of the documentary was about the camp itself, what inspired everything to start. But it was this was surprisingly kind of the first really summer camp in America that really truly cared about disabled people, wanted to help them just achieve things in
and
society.
have normality.
Yeah, normality, and so it was really interesting to see.
Check that out.
Yeah, it was good. But then the second half was those, the first half was all that footage from the camp, these people were really doing the film, and they just had footage, and the second half was, people were like doing insanely great things to help the disabled community. They did this whole, what they call a sit-in thing somewhere.
Nice.
Where, in some sort of building, and the people, there's a giant set of stairs, and part of it was that people were in the wheelchair were just dragging themselves up the stairs.
Is it a form of protest?
Yeah, they were dragging themselves up the stairs. That could take a long time for some people who maybe have less mobility in their arms too.
Yeah,
that was kind of interesting. But yeah,
I'm all for advocacy.
So it was cool, cool to see, and so that was one that was powerful for me. So that kind of also leads into this topic, which is perfect. So what kind of things do you wish were different about the world or something?
Ooh, that's a long list.
Yeah, maybe some the biggest thing I really wish.
I believe the most pressing, potentially remedied thing we could do for the world is to further access to education.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like any kind of social movement you see, moving towards acceptance, moving towards understanding of each other, moving to places of being able to have more ready access to resources is propelled by people having access to knowledge. And I think we've seen this big evolution of that since we've had the internet. And people do have more access to information. People are learning more about other people and realizing how much we all have in common.
Remind me of something.
I can see what a fisherman is doing in Vietnam on his Instagram. I can see what an Antarctic researcher is doing. I think having more ready access to education makes us all understand each other.
Yeah.
And we need more unity in the world. That's really what it comes down to. There's so much division, so much of it is artificial. It's based on these constructs we have, old world archetypes. I think a lot of that could be helped if we were given a way to understand each other.
Yeah, definitely. There is, I was just kind of randomly remembering when you said the internet and education. So, the website Masterclass, where you have to pay a whole bunch of money for it. I remember there was, so, I don't know if you've heard of the art collective Mischief. They're known for a whole bunch of randomness. They're creating change, but through mischief, basically.
Perfect. I'm all for that.
Yeah, and one of them was taking master classes and just kind of like building, bottle, all that, and then just put it out there for free.
That's what's neat.
That's one example. Stuff like that. So
that's so difficult to access education. To your point, I would consider myself a fairly well-read, educated person, but I'm a high school dropout. And I work in mental health. I think if there weren't so many barriers in our education system worldwide towards people learning, a lot would be fixed.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's anything else you want to touch on that, or do you like the next topic?
Can't we just all get along? That's really what I like. If we could have more love, compassion, understanding.
Definitely.
I think that starts with education.
Yeah, for sure. And the final question I had was, do you believe in a higher power? Like, you don't have to answer that if you don't want to.
I do.
Okay.
I do believe in a higher power. I was raised very Christian, and as I've gotten older, I've moved away from that. For a while, I was an atheist. I was very nihilistic, and I realized that doesn't really suit me and what I believe in the world. I would consider myself a very spiritual person. I believe in a God. My belief is kind of that it's a little unconventional. I believe that the universe is we're all parts of it, like atoms in a molecule in a cell in a body. The will of the universe is completely beyond my understanding, just as much as my toenail doesn't know why I'm getting a haircut. I believe there's a higher plan and a higher purpose and meaning and hope and I pray or manifest, whatever you call it. And the word I use internally is God, because that's my understanding for whatever this is.
That there's like a conscious spiritual being. Or is that what you feel?
I think we are part of the conscious spiritual being.
Okay,
And I think
like a cognizant, what you call that? Like we're all working together.
But I believe whatever this higher power looks like, it has a grand design for space, time, and everything that I can't hope to understand as much as I'd like to influence it. And I've been getting really into Buddhism lately, relinquishing control, giving power to others, accepting others.
I guess what role? You already like what the higher power does.
I believe
Or that you don't understand it.
I don't understand it, but I believe that I believe it cares. It cares for its creation, for what it is. But again, I think that I have any understanding of what that plan looks like.
Okay. Yeah. Do you believe in some sort of afterlife or reincarnation, or what is it that you believe?
I go back and forth with this. I like to hope there's an afterlife. I like to hope, or reincarnation, or whatever it is, some life beyond this. But in my practical day-to-day life, I find it a much healthier thought exercise for me to believe that there is nothing after this life, because that makes me really mindful and purposeful about what I'm doing. I think growing up in the Christian faith, the particular denominations I belong to, spoke so much on heaven and how good things are going to be in heaven, and how you need to do good things to get into heaven.
I was gonna say, for me, like I said, I'm Christian, I believe in heaven. Like, it's the kind of thing where, I believe that, though it's good to strive to be kind and all that, it's like that even that you could possibly be saved at the last moment, and you're like, oh, shoot, and then if you want to try and change and be good, that it's still possible to get into heaven if you truly decide this. That's what I believe. Just at least striving and trying.
I worry that a lot of spiritual practices and religions get far too fixated on the idea of what comes after this life, and they distract themselves from the importance of doing good and trying to change the world and make it heaven on earth. I believe there's a particular denomination of Christianity, and I could be wrong, that believes that Jesus won't return to the earth until we've created a place that is beneficial to everyone. To essentially, that we need to create the idea of heaven, that we're responsible for that.
I get it.
With things like equity, with things like education, with things that we need to learn to love each other. And the Bible itself says God is love.
Right.
And I think loving people unconditionally, is in loving fellow mankind is. I think that's what all faith really boils down to. Is whatever your deity choice is, like that's the message. You need to care for each other, love each other.
That's what humans create.
And I'm a big fan of Jesus.
And whoever else.
I go back and forth on if he was a real person or not, but the writings of the gospel, I think, are truly
Same.
I think that's what we should strive. Tolstoy was a Christian anarchist, and Tolstoy believed that the only law that we should have to govern human beings should be the Sermon on the Mount, and that if we follow the teachings of Jesus from the Sermon on the Mount, that we could be self-governing and achieve universal peace.
It definitely is. People who,
And I think we just need to work on understanding. Love everybody. Be good. Thank you. It's very nice.
Nice meeting you too. That's not right. Awesome. But yeah, honestly, we can edit things out. So.
Yeah, I've had a lot of inspirational movies over the years, but lately what's been on my mind is this one TV show called Twin Peaks, which came out in the 90s.
I love that.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. David Lynch's best production ever, I think. It came out like right before I was born. I was born 1991, and it's really cool to just like look into like how things in the world were right before I was born. And I don't know, it's a very dreamlike and disorienting show.
A lot of people who have seen Twin Peaks say that they've seen it and then they haven't seen the movie. Have you seen that yet? If not,
Just the movie, not the third season yet.
okay, so you've seen season 1 to 16?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Third season, I definitely recommend. Yeah, it's an insane conclusion. I heard that it ends on a note that some people don't want it to end on, but he said that's it, no more. But that's still pretty interesting.
You know, even though I haven't seen like say the season itself, I've seen a lot of lore on YouTube about it, and honestly, the lore on YouTube tells me that basically the premise was David Lynch acknowledged that fans wanted the show to die a certain way, and he really just delivered it cut and dry, but in his own vindictive and like, you know, intellectual way. He kind of gets the viewer to face themselves in a way and like their desires. So it's very interesting how he did that.
Season 3, episode 8 is the most famous one because it's like very different and it's great. I recommend watching it at least. It's an experience to say the least. So,
yeah, and it really just has been inspirational because it's a mind warp in a way where you really have to just see what layers of like human desire there are, because you know you don't just have your plain primal like, oh, you know, let me eat a steak, have sex with this person. It's more complex and like weird social quirks, like I don't know, people just I guess getting aroused. Like there's a certain scene where there's a Fu Manchu mustache wearing person that was like posing as I guess some sort of investor, and it ended up being a woman in male drag. But honestly, the funny part was like I think there was like that curly haired guy, and he was more into that when it was the Chinese drag, when he thought it was a man, and there was this whole like weird thing going on with it. And there were things like, you know, Leland with the daughter, don't want to go there in too much detail, but you know, that's just how David Lynch does things. He goes all the way there, goes all the way in. But yeah, they're just like weird dynamics, like the eye patch lady and the submissive guy, and it's like you just see how not broken some people are, but just how easily like they are not led astray, but like sort of like plunged into their quirks in a way. And their kinks, and you know, just being deviant. The world would be a better place if people took the time to understand themselves from a compassionate lens and apply that to behavior, you know, not just thinking about it. Also, like, it's really important to spend time learning how to help others, but here's the thing is like, we can't really continue to do that in a big number if there's no profit. Just like, all right, there's a weird fact with living in the US. I've learned, like, I have these aspirations. I would love to just live rent free and you know, help people, eat what I want, but I need to make a certain quota. So that's why I have in parentheses, even if for profit. So I think it's key to like see if your main job is going to be more geared towards helping others, or if maybe you want to meet that need another way. Like, I think that changes from person to person, but for me personally, I've just seen how those two need to correlate for me, just personally, because I am a massage therapist, and I've just learned over time from practicing. You know, not only do you have to be the vessel that can be profitable, have that business-like aspect, it's not all about that. You want to help yourself and understand every layer of that, and then see what other people's tics are. Because sure, you have a system that you like, but not everyone likes what you like, and I've worked on countless people to just learn that in all sorts of ways. And yeah, it made me want to just continue to like have a purpose here and like sort of see why that's part of the change we need. This will kind of jump forward into like why I like the kava scene here. I know you want to talk about that too, but you know, again, with massage therapy and just how that's driven me to want to like envision how helping the world could look like. I try to understand how creativity and health knowledge can interact with themselves, and how we can be a little more diligent with making that a part of our lives.
Like creativity.
Yeah, you know, I think even receiving a massage, not necessarily getting trained in a massage, can show you certain patterns of movement that are really, you know, not only do they feel nice, but like it's an experience to sort of see how a person's like trying to sort of be graceful and have patterns that are interesting. I don't know, we have heartbeats, we have like these pumps in our body, like we have rhythm, so I think there's something to that.
Yeah, okay.
The higher power
Yeah,
I would say yes for me, and I'm not the type of person that's like let me name drop a religious deity, you know. I was raised Christian, I was never a habitual churchgoer, my family didn't push that, we just stuck with the holidays, and I love like the aspect of gathering and sort of having that spiritual routine, but at the same time, I'm not like putting my heart all the way out to religion, because I realize I have a different relationship with how I see that higher power. And I think a lot of the religious textbooks touch on reincarnation and what we do on this earth, and how like being good is impactful on such a deep level. Basically, I think there's a collective field with a lot of cause and effect, and even though like I've only been able to prove physical stuff like most of my life, nowadays it's just gotten a lot more interesting with just seeing in between the lines in certain ways. And I guess like when I've trained like my brain to sort of expect that there is something there, I've seen patterns in different ways, like occurrences, visualizations.
So yeah, like one of the interesting ones, like I mean, different people believe that it would be a different, you know, deity or whatever. I mean, I'm a Christian. I believe it's God. But, I have definitely witnessed things that, like, along with other people, that I can't really otherwise explain physically, right? And so, like, one of the things that happened one time, I was supposed to go somewhere. You know, everything kept failing miserably. I thought at first, right? Like, there's this transition program I go to in terms of like just helping with adulting skills, because difficult disability, autism, it's difficult. But the point is, I was supposed to go there that day, and everything went wrong, and I ended up not going. I'm like, what is happening? I can't. So I was supposed to go back there after a while. Not good, right? But then what happened was, I got home, and I was like a little frustrated. I'm like, you know what? I just suddenly felt this really weird urge. I'm like, I gotta take a walk. But in a weird way that I never experienced before. I didn't know how to explain it. So I started to take a walk, and well, first of all, I realized that part of my condition, I have like episodic leg weakness, and I'm like, oh great, I had that. no, I'm gonna take a walk anyways. So I got like the walker that we had for a bit. I'm using different mobility. I know. But point is, I had a walker. I was using that, and I went kind of slowly. I grabbed my backpack. I don't know why I grabbed my backpack. I'm like, I didn't need it. Okay, whatever. I'll just keep it with me. The reason all that's important is I walked a little bit. I barely did a block, or like 2 blocks, when this elderly neighbor who's also using a walker, she just kind of, she was walking, and then I walked past her. I turn around because I'm suddenly like, I need to turn around. I'm not sure why. I just like, I need to turn around, and I did. Right as I turned around, she doesn't just trip over something. She slumps over. She falls down. She hits her head, and I'm like, okay. I was like, I felt freaked out. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's really injured. At first I was kind of freezing up, like, are you okay? So, obviously she's not okay. But I have the confidence. I walk over to her. I kind of, not only do I walk over to her, but my leg weakness episode stops, and I'm able to run over there, right?
Wow. Okay.
It's like episodic, but it's more the timing of that. The timing of when the episode ended was perfect. I'm like, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah, and like that can not only feel spiritual per se, but like it's just very interesting when we can look at ourselves in such a different lens. I think what happened, and this is a very educated guess, but basically, I've had my own back problems. I've had my own struggles with sort of getting over neural pathways and whatnot, but what I've noticed is that in times like you described, where it's like, all right, I am called to not only engage in, some sort of activity, but it sounded like you focused on it differently, not just in like when you got to say that woman and that you need to help. What else was I gonna say? It was a spiritual person. Oh yeah. So this is an idea just on this topic. Basically, sometimes when our intuition kicks in, a lot of people say like there is sort of like recognizing that something needs to be directed without knowing what it is at first, but you head in its direction, so you were walking towards that woman, you're like, why am I doing this? And I think it got intuitive because you picked up on like something that was like in her movement. There's that, and that's a big thing too. It's like people are getting ready for an accident, and also you said like your leg stopped hurting, so
like the leg was a weakness.
It was like maybe it's just an immediate kick switch for the intuition, because it requires you to not be in a bunch of pain and get distracted, for it to work. So, what happened when it worked suddenly? Kind of overrode that function in a way.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, there's a couple more details actually go into this story too that's interesting. It's more than just the like being this episode stopped, but the other detail is the reason it's important I mentioned that I brought my backpack with me. I normally didn't do that on a walk, but what happened was I brought it with me. I'm like, I'll put it back now. I'll just keep it with me. The night before, I kid you not, the very night before this happened, I felt a similar urge that's happened twice now, and I was like 11 at night, and I'm like, I have a first aid kit. I wonder if I can quickly add some like gauze and whatever the heck we have, some gauze. I may as well add that to it.
Oh yeah, first aid stuff.
And I just, again, it was that weird urge. I'm like, I'm gonna add some gauze, add some clean edge, close enough, and I went to bed, right? All of this happened, back to that day, and then she fell, she like slumped over and fell, and I finally, my leg weakness episode stopped, and I was able to run over to her, and she was bleeding out like really bad, like both her nostrils, her forehead, she had after what they call it underneath her eye was bleeding out. It was like, because she was older and more frail, and so like the head is the place where you bleed up, and it's bad. And I'm like, I suddenly had the confidence and the knowledge, like not instantly knowledge, more this. I remembered first aid class I took a while back before, and I'm like, I remembered all the details clearly of how to help her until the paramedics arrived. I was able to help. And I mean, she survived it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
insane.
Wow,
Like,
not only
nobody
did
else
you
was
have
around.
like momentary intuition, you had like precognition in a way. And yeah, why would someone have a craving to put something they usually don't like find like activity in their backpack? Like normally it's like your phone charger, Nintendo Switch, the food you're eating, and you know, it's like
I never feel like anything
you just had that
prepared.
urge for some reason, something's getting ready to happen.
And the details, nobody else was around. It was just her and me and her. Like, yeah. So if I wasn't there, she would have bled out on the sidewalk and died. Like she would have passed away right there with no friends or family around, scared and alone. You know, so that was. But yeah, I mean, though she did pass away like 3 weeks later, it was a completely different cause, and she got to spend time with family, and the family got to spend time with her. So that was insane.
Wow.
So that's my story. I mean,
Well, you
that's
still led her
one
to
reason
some
I
sort of
believe in
closure,
higher
and
power, so,
yeah, you definitely took the pain away in the moment. I guess that's what really counts. It's like you never know how much time someone has.
Like, that's one of the, like I've always been like, oh,
That's
you know, like,
another
God's good, there's good things in life, and all of a sudden, that definitely led me into being more, like, less skeptical and be like, oh my gosh, there's something more than just, yeah. So, I don't know, there's a couple of other random examples, but that's the biggest one I remember.
Yeah, and over time, and like, you know, not just in my own like weird experiences, but just looking at people's like patterns on the body and like just connecting that to like how spiritual concepts sort of work. I have come to understand like a lot of this energy we talk about that ties in like, you know, connection to spirit. Everyone's got their own version of that. I don't want to get too nitpicky about that, but like ultimately it seems like it's always connected to spiritual matters because it's just like, okay, thoughts generates feelings, and therefore like what if we just go back through those thoughts? What is that being generated by? Well, that's just a vague term, but like our signal going back to that is like a little bit more broad, and it, you know, if it narrows into the body, how can we control all that big stuff that we have? That's why we get like precognition and, you know, certain ideas, certain foods we want to eat each day, like certain times we do things.
Yeah, and there is another.
I don't know, it just seems odd sometimes with how many coincidences.
Alright, we're tallying up these votes and
There. There. Oh, without showing your face. There we go.